Good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome to being here. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shia. And
Today,
happiness happens.
Yeah, it really does.
It really does. Actually, happiness doesn't necessarily happen. Circumstances happen. And then how you respond to those circumstances determine your happiness. If you disagree with the way it's showing up, no happiness. If you allow it to be the way it is, happiness. Amazing.
It is.
It is amazing. It took me a lifetime to realize that, really. I mean, I get it every day newly, but it's been about 33 years ago, I declared my enlightenment. I said, hey, I'm not working on myself anymore. I'm done. I'm cooked. This is me. And that's when happiness started. I mean, there were moments of happiness, but that's when consistency and well-being showed up.
Those moments of happiness before
were more upsets than anything else.
We do finish each other's sentences. That wasn't what I was going to say, but that's true. A lot of them were upsets, but they were definitely circumstantially determined. So if circumstances aligned the way that he or we would prefer, then happiness followed. If somebody said or did something we disagreed with, or if we said or did something we disagreed with, happiness went out the window. Today, there's the possibility that you can drop into your sense of well-being, even if the world around you is turbulent.
And the world around us these days is turbulent. I mean, that's a mild way of putting it. Without getting political, there is I was getting political.
There's just a turbulence.
And the coronavirus is spreading. It's an epidemic of unthought of proportions that is just spiraling out of control. And people have an option here. You can be happy, or you could be upset, worried, and complain. And those are your options. It doesn't change the circumstance, but it changes your sense of well-being and your sense of yourself.
At risk of driving you away, I want to give a COVID story I heard the other day.
You're going to drive me away?
I might.
Oh, okay.
I might drive you into fidgeting, but we'll give it a shot. I saw an interview with a young woman whose mother and grandfather had just died. And the grandfather and mother had been in the hospital either together or they were there in a way that they could communicate. And she said that her grandfather said to her mother, kiddo, I'm not doing very well. And she said, Dad, I'm not doing very well either. And he said to her, I'm dying. And she said, yeah, I'm dying too. And he said, okay, then I'll see you in heaven. Being here does not change the circumstances, but your sense of well-being in the midst of whatever you're in the midst of depends on whether or not you step into what's happening as opposed to fighting the circumstances, thinking they should be different. Now, obviously, that's a very dire circumstance, but on a day-to-day level, in little pieces, we step away, we stop to think, we don't want what we have. If you allow yourself to fully engage here today and to listen, not only to the two of us, but we have two amazing guests coming on to share their perspective, to ask questions, to be with us. As you listen, as this is your life, because it is, you've chosen to listen to this podcast.
It will pull you into the moment.
And in the moment is where happiness resides.
That's right.
Not in your thoughts.
Your thoughts about the future do not produce happiness. This moment is where your life is taking place. And if you resist the way it's going, you have pain. And if you embrace the way it's going, you have happiness. That's the way it goes.
I find also that I listened to a podcast the other day, a couple of them, a couple of our friends have some really amazing podcasts. One is called Is That Really Legal by Eric Rubin, and the other is Walt's Kitchen Table. And I was listening to both of them. And I realized that there are certain things that I could step away to either agree with, there wasn't really any disagree with, but and from that moment, that's not where happiness resides. That's not listening. When you fully engage and just hear what's being said,
Without agreeing or disagreeing, but just hear it.
or without trying to remember, oh, that was a good point, I got to remember that for later.
Or without comparing it to what you already know. Oh, yeah, I know that.
Well-being, that's your access way to well-being. Should we take our first?
Yes, we should.
Our first guest,
Cheryl.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, Ariel. Hi, Shaya.
Hi.
I'm this is Cheryl. I'm connecting in via Zoom from Hong Kong today.
Hong Kong, welcome.
First I'd like to. I mean, you talked a bit about the pandemic, COVID. I'd really like to say and express my appreciation for this type of resource that you offer, and if I can make it emotional, but
you're allowed to get emotional. Just slow down a little bit.
Yeah, then you'll definitely get emotional.
And your happiness and well-being is tied into that emotion as well.
And there's nothing wrong with that emotion, Cheryl. And you can talk through it.
Thanks. What you guys have been providing throughout this year has really been really helped to keep me centered. And I know many in this community, and probably many that we may not know about, who are connected or dial in or listen in. And I just really appreciate that, because I feel like it's made this year a whole lot easier. And to be able to be okay, or to find happiness, or to see the brighter things despite everything that's been going on this year. It's been an interesting year, to say the least. But I guess my question is, this year has been incredible, and I have really, as we're getting like
this year,
and I there's so many amazing things happening, and things that some like organizing retreats, like yoga retreats, sound meditation retreats, working with brands, and collaborations. Work seems to be going well, although it's very long hours. But so there are many great things happening, and I feel sometimes I tend to focus on what's not working, or.
Of course you do.
You see, your mind is a survival machine, and its function, its purpose, is to keep you or itself alive or surviving. And because you don't have to necessarily be alive to survive, your point of view can survive after you're gone. So it teases out the worst possible scenarios to survive. So you don't think about all the great things for the most part. You think about what could go wrong.
But that's the function of the mind. And let's talk right away about the 3 principles of instantaneous transformation. If over the eons of time, Cheryl, your mind, that you've inherited your abilities from our ancestors, from the people who came before, and their ability to look and see what might be coming that they could get caught by, and then they would not survive. That's part of why you're here. So if that's your mind's function and first principle, you resist it when it skips off to or focuses on what you might consider the negative.
The first principle is anything that you resist or don't like or don't want or wish you different will persist, it'll grow stronger, and it'll be all you think about.
So by not appreciating, not wanting that facility, pushing it away, thinking in terms of positive and negative, oh, I should be more positive, you actually set yourself up to keep going back and back and back to those things you consider negative, and they loom larger all the time. Second principle, in any given moment, you can only be exactly as you are. Your mind can only be poised to go off to the quote negative things and disregard the things that you've done well that have already gone by. Third principle, anything you see without judging completes itself in an instant. So it's a little like this. Here we are, we're sitting here. Your mind skips off to something you forgot to do today. You see that you're doing that without judging it, and suddenly you're back again. You're here again. You judge it, you don't want it. You're like, oh my God, here I am again. You stick yourself there over and over. It's like an endless cycle.
That's really cool. I can see that, and I can feel a bit lighter already. Just
So here's the thing, Cheryl. See, good and bad and right and wrong live in the realm of change. Positive and negative live in the realm of change. Transformation is about simply noting the isness of any situation. What it is, not as a good thing or a bad thing, as a better or worse, but as it is. So if you find yourself with a headache, it's not bad, it's not good, it's a headache. And if you let yourself feel it, it'll dissolve on its own. But if you resist it and wish you could get rid of it, you'll keep it, because anything you resist sticks around. And if you look, you'll see that when you resist something, you think about it all the time.
yes, it feels like that.
So you're basically diving into what you say you don't want, which keeps it in place.
I want to go back to something you said earlier that just will support what Shia just said. It's an actual specific from your life. You mentioned 3 things that you personally are involved in or passionate about. You talked about yoga retreats. You talked in healing. You talked about sound meditation and retreats in that. And you talked about your job, which is going pretty well, but you got long hours.
Yes, yeah.
So it's interesting how you apparently are embracing the first 2 and having a conversation that's complaining in nature about the job you have that provides the financial well-being so that you can do the other things that you are passionate about as well.
You might be much better off getting passionate about your job rather than complaining that it takes long hours. Because if you're going to be there for long hours, you might as well be enjoying it.
Yes.
But if you're complaining about it, you can't possibly enjoy it unless you're a masochist, in which case complaining brings you pleasure.
You know, the other thing, Shai and I are like sole proprietors of our corporations. We have limited staff to support us. Of course, we have some really talented people who volunteer and whatnot. But in any given day, we have long hours. And I find that there are ways of being more efficient. And sometimes part of being more efficient is quitting, ending for the day, or taking a break. One of the things, I'm not quite sure how your job is structured.
But when you say take a break, you mean stop working on that project, even in your thoughts.
Yes, and in that, take a break might just be stand up, walk around the office, might be go down and get a drink of water, make a cup of tea, might be take a date, walk to the mailbox and get the mail. There's something about not grinding forward to get it done. It includes, for me personally, I find sometimes toward the end of the day, my facility to accomplish tasks diminishes and everything takes exponentially longer. And I'm more likely to make typos when I'm writing an email. When I recognize that, I will complete the things that are required to be completed at night, but I'm much better off even getting up at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, doing things early, because it's fun. I just like getting stuff done. There's definitely happiness associated with that, but I've come to recognize that grinding it out is a way of proving to myself I'm either important or responsible or have to do this, rather than having a life that is filled with well-being from morning to night through the night.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I can definitely see when I complain or when I drag my feet, or but it doesn't have to be that way.
Well, it has had to be that way, but it doesn't in the future.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because you couldn't have done it any other way.
Yes, yeah.
One last just idea.
Sure.
Being an effective administrator does not make you less creative.
Yeah.
You know, you do your sound meditations, you do things that are more creative in nature. And I find the more crisp I am as an administrator in handling tasks, the more it frees up my ability to do the things I might consider creative, like editing or taking pictures or other things like that.
Cool. I like that. Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Thanks for being with us today.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, you want to hear about transformation?
Mm-hmm.
We've got one of our listeners about to tell you about what's happened in their life out of listening to being here.
Hello, this is Franziska from Hamburg, Germany, and I love to be on the global video seminars on Zoom with Ariel and Shaya and all the other people around the world, because it puts me in the absolutely moment of now, and it gives me goosebumps and smiles, and I really enjoy being with all these folks around the country.
If you would like to experience an expanded sense of well-being, join us. Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Aaron and Shire's lively interactive global video seminars. Participate in any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
Okay, welcome back, and not that you went anywhere because you've been listening this whole time. Tonight we start Speak Up for 3 successive Wednesday nights. Starting tonight, we're doing Speak Up with the talented Susan Finch. And so if you're joining us, we look forward to seeing you. It's not too late. If you want to do it short dated, you can go up to our website, transformationmadeeasy.com. If you happen to be listening to this in the archives, you can certainly join us for Step Into Your Brilliance in January on the 9th and 10th. Now, all of our seminars currently are virtual. If you happen to be listening to this far down in the archives, just go to our website, see what we're currently doing at transformationmadeeasy.com. as long as we're here, let's do a little shout out to Susan Finch. You know, she and her fiance, Michelle, who lived in separate countries, did everything they needed to do to get a fiance visa so that he could move here. And it did require taking steps. And the thing that was most impressive is they were happy every step of the way. It wasn't like when we finally get married, then we'll be happy. So we have a really good feeling about
How this relationship shall turn out.
because it's already turned out, and
Because
they're not married yet.
they're not waiting to be happy when they can get together again. They are happy when they're on a Zoom call together or on a seminar that we're doing.
Or when they're in separate rooms working with different clients. It's like there's the possibility that where you are and how you are, even when you might have circumstances that appear frustrating, you can access your own personal happiness. So that's today's shout out. Shall we take our first
Yes.
or our second, or for this segment, our guest,
Yes, let's.
Miss Aisha.
Hello.
Hello, guys. It's great to see you. This is Aisha from Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Welcome.
Welcome.
It's good to see you too. In case people aren't aware, we're actually seeing her via Zoom, even though you get to hear her. You can just imagine how lovely she is.
Oh, thank you. I was thinking about the COVID situation and happiness and how when things swirl around you, how you can still feel happy. And one thing that I noticed at the beginning of everything, and actually even now, is once we moved for our jobs from on-site to off-site, and I was working from home and I had the chance to slow down, I found that I was getting happier and I was calmer and things were going better. But my brain kicked in and said, oh, well, all these horrible things are happening and all these people are dying and everybody's upset and I'm feeling happy. Should I feel bad about being happy? And I remember the very first global video seminar that I came to, Ariel, you said something, you brought that up and you said, I'm happy. Like, I'm just going to say that I'm fine. And I remember feeling such a sense of relief that there was, it was almost like affirmation that it's okay to be okay when things are swirling around and people are upset. And I find that that's something that I continually have to work on because it's, especially at work, if a challenge arises and people are upset about it and I just don't see the point in being upset, like I can see a solution, it's going to be okay. I sometimes supersede that because me showing upset instead of just being okay with the situation, I interpret that as showing that I care or that I'm taking it seriously to other people, when in fact I'm okay with it.
Well,
so that was just
what you've said so far is so rich with many things that I'm not sure which thread to pull. But as you're talking about somebody being upset at work about a situation and you feel okay about it and you feel you need to mirror the upset to show you care, in there also are your judgments of people for getting upset.
And if you have judgments for people getting upset, you have even more judgments for you getting upset. It's as if upset is a bad place to go rather than a natural outcome of a sudden, unexpected shift or change in your environment that needs immediate dealing with. So upsets are bound to happen. They happen every time something happens unexpectedly, because change in itself is upsetting. So what Ariel's saying is you hold upset as somehow wrong rather than just another possible moment that includes upset. So you think you'd be happier if you were upset free.
Yes, I do think.
Yes, you do. This isn't a
Like-
trick question. You see. The fact is, you think it would be better if you didn't have these upsets, but life has upsets along with them. Now,
Right.
if you engage in it as though it's your idea, you deal with it.
So even when you say it's something I need to work on, it
That
sets
caught
you
me.
up to have cyclical upsets
Well-
rather than, oh,
I
look,
see that.
it's awareness and
It also-
non-judgmental seeing.
It also
see
says that you're not okay the way you are. If you need to work on something, it's a statement that you are not okay being you the way you are in this moment. Because see, I don't think you need to work on anything. I was going to say, I don't need to work on anything. I was tying a fishing fly last night and it didn't turn out the way I wanted to. So I took it apart and started again.
And then he actually at some point realized it was what I was describing about later in the day when your facility to do things sometimes degrades. It can be earlier in the day too, but in this case, I heard him say, because I was around, to himself, I need to stop now. It is time to stop, because clearly his facility to do what he normally does easily had degraded.
But there's nothing wrong with me for having my facilities to tie a fishing fly degrade. You know, it was a long day.
You know, your seeds for unhappiness are just waiting to sprout. I heard the seeds in something you said earlier. You said when you got to work from home and you slowed down, it made you happy. And the seeds for if you ever go back to an office environment
Yeah.
are there to be
Yeah.
unhappy, because you have your happiness caused by a set of circumstances.
And your happiness is not caused by the circumstances. Now,
Mhm.
you may have associated your well being or happiness with the circumstances, but that doesn't mean that they're determined by the circumstances. I mean, take Nelson Mandela. He discovered enlightenment in a harsh prison environment. You know, circumstances should not have produced enlightenment.
Now, here's the thing. I guarantee you that you have slowed down. You probably are happier, but you can look at how you're interacting with your life that facilitates that, because that capability is available when the life circumstances change. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, Shai and I had a consultation with a physician who we've worked with over the years to help maintain the best quality of health. And one of the things that he noticed is that our adrenal glands, our stress hormones, were the best they've ever been. And I said to him, yes, this being at home thing is really working for us. But I realize it's not just that we are less on the go, but I can take a look and see how I'm intersecting with my life right now, so that when we do take more trips to the city, when we are flying to other locations to lead courses, that I can see how we're being, rather than think, oh, here comes the stressful times. Because there are plenty of people who currently have more stress.
And they're stuck at home because they're stuck at home rather than they choose to be there.
Mm.
And, you know, the word choice has been so abused You know,
I
choice,
choose this pandemic.
right? Choice is supposed to decide. People all have the the right words. They say it right, but that doesn't change anything. You can say, I choose to do what I'm doing, and still be complaining in your head that you have to do it.
I've done that too.
I know, that's why I said
This is
that.
my choice. And meanwhile, I'm like, I hate this. I hate every part of it. I hate every.
Exactly, exactly. That's not choice. That's deciding to have it be choice.
Yes. Perfectly.
I will endure this.
Yeah.
Rather than realize that this moment, Aisha, is where your life is taking place. This moment is the expression of your life, rather than someday when I handle this or that, or I work on this or that, I'll be better enough to be okay with my life. This is it. This is the way it turned out. Congratulations. You look lovely.
Thank you.
Also there are times of transition where we've been trained to think we need to be miserable in order to move on. So if right now you're thinking this may not be the job that I want to be in for the next 5 years, there's a tendency to
take your foot off the
take your
gas.
foot off the gas, step back, or highlight all the things you don't like to justify the move, rather than have that job be the best it's ever been and use that into the springboard of what comes next.
It's a really good point. Actually, that's a very, very good point. And something for me to think about.
No, don't think about it.
No, just
bring your awareness.
You see, if you see something, it completes itself in that moment. So in this particular scenario, if you have been thinking about changing your job and you have been justifying leaving for all the reasons why you don't like it, then the seeing of that will put it all in neutral, if you will, so that you can start freshly with your job as though it's new and devote yourself to it so you win with it. And if you want to move on, you move on anyway. But it's not like you have to gather a bunch of reasons why you want to quit, rather than just say, I want to try something else.
Disengagement becomes a catch-all for everything, rather than if you have something, I'm going to use work as an example. You're at work and you have a new task and you don't know how to do it. It's so easy to go, oh, I hate this job, or, oh, well, I'm not going to be here very long anyway. Or rather than stepping in and recognizing your brilliance, and additionally, your leadership. Somewhere you give yourself permission to fly below the radar rather than stepping into a leadership role. You actually said it. If somebody is upset at work, and you don't feel that way, you will go to the least common, you'll be upset with them rather than provide a possibility. I have so many different colliding examples. I recall a time we had a fellow who came to one of our seminars many, many years ago, and he talked about how he had been learning how to paddleboard or some such thing. And he had gotten caught in a riptide and was going out to sea, and nobody saw him, and he knew he was going to die. And a little like 4-year-old on the shore saw him. None of the adults did. The kid picked up a stick and held it out to him. And of course, the stick was only a couple feet long and certainly he could not actually physically reach for it. But that child held out that stick, that hope. He swam for it and saved himself. So as I'm thinking about that, I recall the day our cat got really, really ill. and she was screaming in pain
Mm.
and vomiting. And it turned out ultimately that she had been eating stink bugs. And
She doesn't do that anymore.
so we see them, we vacuum them out.
Well, not only that, now she looks at them,
And
but
she's like,
does
"Ew."
not eat them.
But, they were moving, she ate them, they made her really sick, and of course we took her to the vet and they checked her out and they gave her anti-nausea and she was fine. But I remember calling our friend Amy, and she's like, "Oh yeah, cats vomit all the time, get used to it." And it was, she wasn't dismissing me, but she was uncorking the part of me that was concerned or upset. It allowed it to relax.
Well, she created a context in which you can hold what was going on.
And I have a feeling that you don't give yourself permission to do that in this case at work.
I feel you don't give yourself
true.
permission to be as great as you are. Because on the one hand, you'd like people to look up to you, but on the other hand, there's this, don't count on me. I don't like the pressure.
Mm.
I rarely go on Facebook, but I did see a post of yours at one point. It was after you got your flu shot and you were posing with your mom and you're like, "My mom, I took my flu shot, and of course my mom did the right thing. She took me out for ice cream afterwards." And I was really touched by that. And I think that you have not given yourself permission to be fully like your mom and, give, metaphorically speaking, your colleagues ice cream when they've successfully gotten their flu shots.
Good. Yeah.
And I really go back to what you said, Shai, and I underline it. It's like you'd love to be a leader, but you don't want to have the pressure of responsibility.
Right. You have that "don't count on me" chip in there. So you won't allow yourself to be as fully magnificent as you are because it'll be demanded of you. And you don't like to be told what to do.
I don't like to be told what to do.
I know.
It's absolutely true.
Even by you see, that's when that procrastination thing shows up.
Yeah.
That being said, I think my experience is you're totally prepared and ready and ripe to see that, bust that, and be instantaneously your full self. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come on this show with us.
Right. And there's one other thing. That decision was made a very long time ago when you were a little girl, not the woman you are today. So you are totally capable of handling anything that comes your way. And there's this old program that says, I don't want to be caught out, not able to produce. You are capable. Absolutely capable.
Well, this is hitting because now I'm getting emotional. So, but thank you. That was awesome.
Emotion looks lovely on you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We try to be strong, our kids' version of strong, and allowing yourself to feel what you feel.
Allow
is
yourself
true
to
strength.
be vulnerable is really strong.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. If you enjoyed today's podcast, you can always leave a review on your favorite podcast app. It helps other people find being here. And if you feel to do it, thanks in advance. Next week's show, you ready?
I'm ready.
Twinkle, twinkle, you're a star. It's going to be fun. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week.
So come on back.
And don't miss
being here.